All right, we'll
Hello.
just do voice. Hey, we'll just do voice. It's all right. We'll just do voice. No worries.
Alright. Sorry, man. I
It's
don't know
okay.
what it is,
So,
but I'm really happy that you're here. I was like, when you were out for a second, I was telling everybody I want to tell them all about you because it's super exciting. Um,
oh, that's really appreciate it.
yeah. So even though you can't see him, the voice you're hearing is a super, how should I put it? Every time I talk to you, Nikon, I feel like I am more encouraged than I was like 5 minutes before. And even if
Hmm.
I'm in the best of moods, I can even be even more. And was that yesterday? I think I said to you, you just have a way of taking everyone's dreams and leveling them up to like even more than they were before. And that's pretty amazing. And you're just fun and kind, and I'm super happy you're here. And super skilled. Do you want to tell people what you do? Because, oh, did we lose him? Did we lose him? I see you!
I did. I did. It worked for a second. Yeah. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
Oh,
Um,
your face is frozen, but at least you're smiling, so it's frozen like you're
yeah.
smiling. Fine.
I think, and right back at you. I think even when we first met, like what, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, when I think you first started modeling, and then I was first starting modeling in Bangkok, and you're with your brother Paul, and
Yeah.
I just loved hanging out with you and Paul because you're the most calm and cool people to hang out with. And I remember thinking very similar to what you said. It's like just spending time with you. It just invites you to calm down and just be more of who you really are. That was the one thing I remembered about you
Aw.
when I first hung out with you is how in your space there's no judgment and there's no agenda. It's just pure love and light.
Aw. Well, I'm very, very glad of that. That's my desire in life.
Mm.
I think it's because we all are learning that, right? I think life's about learning how to be fully yourself for yourself and for all the other people around the world. And so that's really encouraging. Even 10 years ago or 8 years ago, um, you saw glimpses of that. That's cool.
Yeah. Look how far we've come.
Look how far, and look how far we're going.
Yes.
Fun.
So, for everybody listening, as me and Miriam got together and we decided to, because our conversations are really interesting, so we thought it'd be nice to let other people listen in on those conversations.
Yeah. So if you don't like listening or talking about things about your heart or thoughts that you don't want to think, or emotions or any mushy gushy lovey dovey stuff, this is probably not your conversation. I'm just kidding. It's for everybody. Everybody is probably feeling some type of way in these days.
Yeah. So, remember, so the topic of our conversation was like, if you're bored, you don't know what to do about it, let's talk about it. So,
Right.
oh wait, everybody, this is the Miriam Live Show, right? Everybody's welcome to the this episode of the Miriam Live Show.
Da, da,
We totally forgot
da.
about that.
We need a theme song.
Yeah, we do. Okay, Miriam, you're the host.
Good
What
evening,
would
everyone. No. Well, like you said, I think during this crazy season of life and in just this time of history in the world, there are a lot of like different, can you say, reactions to what's happening.
hmm,
Some somebody said the other day, like we're all in the same boat, but we're not all in the same storm. Like for some people, they're getting cabin fever, feeling stuck at home, and just bored out of their mind, you know. And for some people, it could be life threatening or just traumatic loss of someone they love, or you know, really, really scary moments of not knowing what's happening next. So um, the first like thing that we wanted to talk about was just like, yeah, people are probably really bored, but some people may be really struggling. So we just want you
Mm.
to know, all of you out there, that we want to be there for you in whatever stage of the storm that you feel like you're in. Um, let's talk about it. Like, let us know how you feel. Like, what's going on with you guys? And Nikon, why don't you tell us what your favorite thing about the season has been, and what your hardest struggle has been?
Say again, what was my favorite part?
Your
My
favorite
favorite.
like thing happening in this crazy season, and then also
Oh,
your
sure.
hardest struggle.
I love how, I think for me, it's been like letting go of what I think can happen, completely letting go of control and making plans. And I had all sorts of plans. I was going to go to America. I was going to do this. And I'm sure you had a lot of plans too, right? Whenever we meet up. And just to have that all just beautifully change and having to really slow down and get creative in different ways. Like I think if we didn't have this slowdown, we probably wouldn't be doing this Instagram live, this podcast.
Probably not.
Probably not, right? And the world might not get to experience the Miriam live show.
The Mirror Black Show. Exactly.
So it's good to see just the how creative people have been.
Yeah.
And then and I've turned the car park in my condo in my personal gym, and I've had so much fun there. Like if you guys follow me on Instagram, like it's so much fun, like jumping and kicking, like it's just so much, it's so beautiful. And I was sitting there today thinking about what we're going to talk about. I was just watching the sunset, and I was like, well, I never watch the sunset in the
Oh.
con like, and I thought about you, and I was like, well, this is what Miriam talks about, kind of this richness of life. And I think the hardest struggle has probably been just having faith and really trusting that. And I'm not gonna lie, really, really, like no, really trusting faith to guide us through, and really trust faith that I'm right where I need to be. And that's why I like you're one of the few people I can talk to about faith.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big word, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big word. Um, yeah, I can relate with your favorites and your struggles too, I think. I love watching your stories, by the way, of your car park um, exercising. I'm like, who knew, you know? And you post it like when you're all excited when you have the whole car park to yourself. You're like, yeah, when
Yeah.
does that ever happen when you go to a gym? You have the whole gym to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
And
the creativity of
mm,
it. Like I was watching some news in America of people dressing up to go take the garbage out, like dressing up
mm,
in their wedding gown or like as a unicorn or things like that. Like just bringing life to their everyday mundaneness. Um, but yeah, just the fear of the unknown and disappointments of things that get canceled or moved or things like that.
I think so. And it opens you up to more, or I call it, we'll use faith, wisdom, guidance to, when we don't think we're in control, and we kind of open ourselves up to what could happen.
Right.
I think that's been my thing, my struggle, because I think traditionally I think I'm very in control of my experience. And now I have to really let go, like I don't know what's gonna happen. And what's emerged from not knowing is a lot of beautiful things, I think. A lot of really nice a lot of really nice conversations with friends like you and family and people you care about.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Well, for me, I think my favorite and my greatest struggle is kind of a two-in-one thing. It's like, for me, I've had so much more free time than I've had in years. And that's been my favorite because I am very much that type of person that likes to watch the sunset and take in the moment and live like fully present.
Yeah.
But when you're really, really busy, you don't really realize that your lifestyle and your life choices have just taken you really far from that. And it it affects you. Like it, for me, last year was a wild ride of many, many beautiful things. And so I didn't notice that I was like putting aside some probably like emotions or some experiences that were causing me to feel anxious because I was like, nope, I don't have time for that. Like this good stuff happening, I gotta go full force with all this good stuff, and then just ignoring all of the bad stuff. Not necessarily bad, just like just needed to process, you know? So my favorite thing is being able to have time to process all that and really appreciate the stuff that happens. But then it also kind of sucks because then you're like, oh man, there is so much junk that I've harbored for so long. So when I was free for the first time, I felt like, dang it, I just want to do something to keep me busy so that I don't have to deal with what I was thinking about or what I was feeling, stuff like that. And one of those things is disappointment of like what you thought life should look like. And
Oh yeah.
the funny thing for me though is in my life, life has never looked like what I thought it would look like. You know, when I was
I
younger,
yeah.
I wanted to be so many different things. And then maybe when I was in my teens, I started like volunteering in like refugee camps and things like that. And my dream was I'm going to be a nurse and I'm going to work in war zones. And then in my later teens, when I got into the fashion industry, it was more like a way to meet ends that were needed in my family, opportunity
Mm.
to go to school and things like that. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, this isn't meant to be. Like I'm supposed to be blood somewhere, you know, saving lives. And the reality of like, wow, there's actually something about this opportunity that swept me away. That is a really big part of my heart. Like I started to fall in love with this industry and with the people and what I do, and realizing that I actually have a big part in giving to the people and into this industry that I never would have dreamt about doing if it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes that's you talk about trusting. I don't want to word you wrong, but you talk about like just trusting organic opportunities in life, like
Mm.
letting life like flow just naturally. And I feel like that's when you really find out what um, you're born for. When you don't like clinch onto like I have to control what is going to happen. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I love the image of you. I love that you wanted to be in a war zone and help people. I could totally see like you doing that. And
still do.
yeah, and it's so beautiful to see that you're helping people through your platform and your words now and giving people access into you in your living room and to help them deal with anxiety and pressure. And I have a client, and her name is Julia, and she makes the best banana bread in the country. Shout out, no shame.
Yeah.
And she wrote this Instagram post on the Banana Warrior, and it says, "Excuse me, 2020, like none of this was on my vision board." And it
Oh,
goes
right.
on to read, like on my vision board was like bathtubs in Bali, like none of this was planned, and because I'm her coach, right? And what we were talking about is how we were trying to figure out like what's the best way to do like grow a thriving business during the COVID crisis. And it occurred to me that like nobody's written a book on how to handle this. And we're all really making it up as we go along. And and I think the more you surrender to that, the more I see a lot of kindness. I see a lot of I see a lot of people showing up to help each other. And
Yeah.
that just makes my heart bless. And you see lots of things on the internet of like people who are on Zoom meetings and they forget they're on meetings and they get up and they're not wearing any pants, you know. And, or people showing up for older people in America who can't go grocery shopping and they offer to go do it for them and how we're really a cool bunch of people and it's so humbling to see that
Yeah.
and to see some like a challenge that challenges all of our human like species and to see humanity kind of showing up and doing the best it can.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're all in the same boat. Like there's no um, social boundary or nationality, or everyone is affected by this humanity, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, and no matter what we're feeling, it's completely acceptable. Like it's okay because that, how do you say it?
That I
Like
think
give
what you just
permission to
said,
feel
yeah.
everything that you're feeling because you're human.
There's so much beauty and grace in what you said, and there's so much truth in that because I think, especially, like, you can't positive your way out of this. You know, you can't be like, I'm always happy. Like, look at like this terrible situation. I'm gonna look at the positive side. Like, it sucks. Like, it's okay to be bored. It's okay to be stressed out. It's okay to even feel like depressed. Because I think the lot, like, if you just let yourself feel those things, you kind of you it's like you go through it. It's part of life, right? It's part of experiencing all of life. And I think for me, when I first started my career as a coach, I thought, well, no, life only the good stuff happens when you're like, you know, super positive about stuff. And I realized I'm not super positive about stuff all the time. Like if you if I just lost because I do taekwondo, if I just lost a taekwondo match, like, Nikon, it's okay, it's gonna be good. I will probably throat punch somebody. No, not
Oh,
lying. Right? It's I think that's it. Like it's okay to be bored. And I think if once you let yourself be bored, like you find stuff to do. My friend has become very popular on TikTok. You know, it's like she found her other calling.
she found her other career path.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true, like what you said, which is funny that you said that because I feel like you are one of the most genuine people I know. But if this season has taught me anything, it's really just dug deep into my heart how important it is to be authentic. Because even myself, like
Yeah.
when I realized I was feeling anxious when I was just free, I realized that I had started making patterns last year, especially like doing a beauty pageant for the first time in my life and working every day, that a lot of my uh, choices daily were for the sake of other people, but not necessarily from a place of like, I want to do this, you know? Like it, how do you say it? It's something you want to do, but not something that you like can put your whole heart into because your whole
Yeah.
heart is maybe a little bit disappointed or maybe a little bit, you know what I mean? And uh, after you keep doing that for a little while, you start making this pattern of like, yeah, I live for other people. And then now when all of
Mm.
that's taken away, all the other people are taken away and it's just you, you're like, okay, now what? How do I live for me? And I honestly think that's why a lot of people feel bored is because they haven't had to ask themselves, what is my dream in life? What drives me, makes me alive, and um, my the passions that I don't have time for because I have other responsibilities in life. You know, like I admire
Mm.
some really dear people in my life who are like, since this all began, they haven't been because they're like, I got stuff to do, and I got so much stuff. need to do it. And they're just full force, like learning new things, practicing and improving on things that they already do. And I'm like, are starting new hobbies and dreams or planning for the future because this will too pass, and what
Yeah.
will we have invested in this whole time? So I think for me, like one of the, if you're anxious or bored or even lost, like is it because you don't know what's going on in your heart? Have you been living for people around you in your life and now that it's just you at home, like you're not sure what you want? Like that's okay. There's no shame in that. Like I have to re-look at my heart too, even though I feel like, yeah, I know what Miriam loves. I know what she's going after. But then you, when I look at it, I think I've learned a new level of on authenticity because I love living my life for people, but
Mm.
I can only be the best for the people around me if I'm just truly being real with who I am, with myself, and with the people around me. So, it,
I love that. And I think you're such a beautiful reflection of that for the people around you and for just just people doing your thing. There's so much I heard in that and how like who would have thought that by being yourself and allowing life to flow through you that things get better? Like who
yeah.
would have thought? I think there are a couple girls here like Laura Martin's on the call, I mean on watching and Julia is watching and I've been working with both of them for a while and I can tell you watching them allow life to work through them, I have seen them do incredible things that even were beyond my imagination. And I have to sit back and go like, wow, like that and it comes from being allowing themselves to be more of who they really are. And it
Mm,
just lights my heart up. And I've seen you do that too. I've seen you show up even when you were in the pageant and I went to go see you. I think it was Central Embassy and I think I caught your eye
yeah.
and the way you smiled at me, like I could feel the presence from there. I could feel the quietness and the calmness from wherever I was standing with like all these people. And I was like, yeah, that's Miriam.
Mm,
Like that's who she is, like both on stage and off stage. And I think everybody who's watching this and your fan club and people who follow you, they're so lucky to have met you. Like they are so lucky to have met you. And what I love about you is in sharing that because that's a message everybody needs to hear. Especially I wonder if in kind of the fashion industry where there is a lot of how do I be somebody else and to play both roles
right.
and for you to come out and for you to acknowledge that is such a beautiful thing. Mm.
Wow, thank you. I feel so like, I got powered up there. Um, but that's really dear to my heart because
Mm.
I do work in an industry, like I would say this is in every area of professionality, society, or whatever you call it. Like everyone's felt like uh, the peer pressure or the insecurity of like, I just want to be what people want me to be, you know? And that's a
Mm.
big deal in this industry because we uh, basically do like put on shows or do shoots and stuff for the public. And
Mm.
after 10 years, and especially starting at an age like as a teenager when you're not sure who you are or what you stand for, what your value is, and anything like it has taught me so much that you just only find belonging when you are who you are. Like we all want to belong, but if we're somebody else and people accept us for that somebody else we are, we still don't feel like we belong because that's not who we are, right? So,
So
like I can't.
somebody needs to write that down. Like I'm gonna say it. You said we only find belonging when we are who we are. Like somebody who's watching needs to write that down and turn it into a poster and send it back to Miriam. That is truth.
Because we're all looking for someone to accept us for us, right? And we can spend
Yeah.
like 100% of our energy creating this image that we think that people will accept, and if they do accept it, we're like, success? No, not really, because I don't feel accepted, I don't feel known, I don't feel loved,
Mm,
because that image that I put out isn't really me. And
mm,
for me, I'm like, I just want people to know that when you truly are yourself, whether it's hard for you to accept or not, there is somebody out there that needs that. Like, you were born for a purpose. You are not an accident. Like, every intricacy about the way you are, the way you respond, is completely different to the world. Like, yes, we all go through similar struggles. Yes, we're all human, but you could put like two people with the same background, same environment, and everything, but they're gonna turn out different because we're just made so beautifully and uniquely different from each other. So
mm,
there is no shame in being fully who you are, because it's beautiful and it's messy and it's gonna be growing all the time. Like, I think my favorite realization is that there will never be a day when I am perfect, quotation,
mm,
because perfection for me is actually somebody who is always growing. Because if you make a mistake, that's totally normal, it's totally human. But if you don't grow from it, then that's like such a waste of pain, such a waste of like, you know.
yeah, I love that because wait, everything there's so again there's so much truth in what you just said because I'm sure a lot of people look at your pictures like the ones that are in magazines or they see you on like Vogue or like and I'm sure they think like wow she's perfect and in that moment it looks perfect and I think the inside it's what it looks like is rarely what it feels like on the inside and
Mm.
um and there's something else you said too about someone asked in the I think someone asked in the chat like how do you know what your authentic self is and what I'm hearing about you is really not I'm trying to get this quote right. It's something about it seems to me that you're in your authentic self when you're not thinking so much of you. Oh, I found out the quote. Okay. It's I think humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less.
Hmm.
And so there it's a tricky word to play. And another mentor, Mara Gleason, said it last night on a call. She said, um, I'm either thinking about me or I'm in life. And so what I hear and what you said is when it's not about you and it's not about your insecurities and your fears, you kind of settle down into who you really are, which is when you're not thinking about things and you're just trying things because they make you happy and you like when you sing, when Miriam does a cappella, like the world stops and listens because that's coming from that's coming from the heart. Like you yeah. I'm
Hmm.
sure everybody on who's watching this would agree with me.
Aw, same goes for you, man. But that's a really good question. I must have missed it, but yeah, like, how do you know who you are? I have so many different answers for that, but I give you one trick, I suppose, that I do myself. This is not, I don't even know where started picking this up in my life, but yeah, I think I'd say ask the same question. Like, somebody used to say, was teaching on like how to rethink the lie that you believe about yourself. And I was like, well, then how do you find out what is true about yourself? Eh, because you don't really know if it's a lie if you don't know the truth, right? So, for example,
Mm,
um, if I am too scared to try something new, I'm like, I'm not good enough to try that new thing. Somebody who believes in it would say that's a lie, right? But if they, like Miriam, is so capable of trying new things. So if I didn't believe that I was so capable of trying new things, I wouldn't know that believing that I am not good enough was a lie. Does that make sense? So for
Say
me,
that again. Yeah.
I know
I'm
there's a lot of
sorry.
words there. So
Yeah. Well, just the last part. Just the last part.
using that example, if I didn't
Mm,
know that
mm,
I was so capable of trying new things, I wouldn't know that my believing I'm not good enough was a lie. So,
mm,
something that I practiced in my own life is that if I use my imagination and think about the best version of me, Miriam on her very best day, when her soul is at peace, when she's at ease, and she has hope, and she has 10 times the courage, and she has, like, you know what I mean, like, just imagining, doesn't matter if I feel it or not, just imagining Miriam on that best day. What would she believe about that? Whatever it is in front of me, like, what would I say about that? What would I believe about that? And normally that is the truth about who I really am.
mm,
And anything outside of that is probably a lie to keep me back, to hold me back, to keep me down. Um, and I would say that was like the simplest thing you can do to find out who you truly are, is to imagine yourself at your very, very best, at your most beautiful, like without any shame, without any fear, without insecurities, without um, this or that, the other, like, and who would she say that you are in that moment, or he. Um,
mm.
that's just one trick, because I mean, who am I? I'm not an authority on finding out who you are. I'm still finding out who I am every day. But
There's something in what you said, and it's so beautiful. And I guess for everybody listening, I would love for people to know, or actually, just because it's a conversation between Nikon and Miriam, right? Is isn't it nice to know that even at your worst, who you really are is still available to you?
hmm,
Like, and we talked about this, like, and I'll go first. Like when I get insecure and worry, my world looks really dark, and I end up, especially when I come from that place, I say a lot of things I regret saying, and I do a lot of things I did not mean to say, right? It still came from me, but to know that once that settles down, I do come back to home. It does settle down, and
hmm,
it does, and I think in both our professions, like for me playing taekwondo, it's in chaos, right? You kind of do have to have this centeredness, and for you, it's I can like because I remember being on the runway and just um, okay, I'll share that. My last catwalk that I ever did was for theater, and the way the walk pattern was pretty simple, and it was like a little twist in it because that's the way theater does their walks, right?
huh?
And I think I got nervous because it was theater, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a big deal." And I somehow found a way to mess that walk up just
Oh
slightly,
no!
just ever so slightly. And I've never done a catwalk after that, like ever, you know. and and it goes to show, like I thought I was in the world. I was like, "Oh my God!" And like I remember after that, one of the managers came out and like was so upset and just yelled at me, and I was just like,
Oh,
"I'm so sorry." And and then it was okay. It was okay. And I know that the only reason I did make that was mistake is because I got a little bit nervous about what was happening, and it's like I did get a little insecure, and and it's part of it. Looking back on it, it's pretty funny actually. It's part of the experience. I would have loved to have gone out with a bang, but it wasn't in the cards, and yeah, Yeah, but beginning again, like on from the outside, it does look like people walking, but there's so much more involved in it, right? There's patterns to remember. There's there's um there's people, there's cameras, there's energy, right? There's so much going on.
Yeah, yeah. I love that story because it is like all the emotions of like, oh, I messed up and I've done it wrong, and then suddenly, hey, it's okay, you know, because
Yeah.
it happens. You can't undo it. You can't erase it, but it doesn't define who you are. Like your mistakes don't define you.
Oh yeah, like I think I felt bad for about maybe 30 minutes. I was like, I'm a terrible model. I'm terrible at what I do. I like drama. And then I was like, okay, I'm hungry. Like, like I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I gotta go. This was fun. Peace out.
That's hilarious. How many times have I had a bad day just because I was hungry?
You heard it here on the Miriam live show.
Angry people, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And there's so much in that to explore. Like I really do hope you do more Miriam live shows and you find really cool guests. There's so many things to explore. There's food, there's gut health, there's mental health, there's other people that you could bring on. Like there's so much you could do.
Yeah, I would love to. Nikon, see, this is how you spark inspiration in people. You make something like I literally asked Nikon last week during our conversation. I was thinking we have the craziest conversations. I wonder if other people would be interested in listening to them too. And
Yeah.
then he took me to a whole new level of professionalism and opportunities are endless. So thank you for that, champion.
I calls it like I sees it. Because I think you're in such a unique opportunity to give people a window into what it feels like to do what you do and into there's so much more to you that I think the world would love to know, get to know. The things that are on your mind and your writing and your singing, that I think this is a great space and opportunity for it. Yeah.
Thanks. You know, in every area of life I've been in, from war zones to being a ship
Mm.
clerk to uh, working, fashion weeks and ways around the world or with family and things like that. Just I feel like no matter where I go in life, I realize that all people, every single one of them, the man on the subway, the
Mm.
guy in the 7-Eleven, like he is exactly the same as me in the sense that we all need love and we all are looking for peace and we all have our own struggles that we're going through. And so, no matter if you're rich or poor, or your background in family and school and everything is completely different, like you may not think that watching Miriam on Vogue or on the runway that she would have any idea what you're going through, but um, I feel you, and I've been on the other side of glorious days, and I hope that the way that I found my truth and the way that I find out who I am, the way that I find peace can help you somehow on your journey too. Um,
Mm.
just like you, Nikon, like I've never felt like you're an amazing coach because you've never told me what to do or what to believe, but you open new perspectives and new worlds for me to choose for myself. And that's really what empowering is. And especially now, I hope that we find ways to empower each other because we can all use it. So all that
Yeah.
to say,
Well,
we appreciate you taking time to chat, even though I have no idea what happened to our connection.
that's all right. It worked out the way it's supposed to work out, and we might do another one. You never know. You never know, right? Like we'll figure this out and we'll do another one. And I humbly accept all your lovely compliments, and it's such a blessing to know you and to watch you grow and to really see how much life is going to breathe through you from now. Like I just see you do all sorts of wonderful things and helping people in all the ways that you want to help people. Like the world is a lucky place that we get to experience your humanity. And yeah. And so I don't know about everybody watching, but for me, I'm cheering for Miriam Live Show to go on for another episode with another one of her wonderful guests. And and you know what? I'm gonna be on your team and help you figure it out. We'll figure out the video thing and it'll be cool.
Oh, thank you dearly. Thank you dearly. I think it's going to be a fun adventure. And I don't know why today the internet is not working, but I would love for people watching to be more involved somehow. Um, like, I don't know if it's the same for Unicon, but I've been stuck on like the
Mm.
same comment, and there's like people commenting, but I can't see it.
I can see all the comments. There's like waves and hearts and loves. It's
Oh,
just it's all
my brother,
it's all
Buckthorn.
yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
speaking of not letting anything limit you in this time, just gonna brag on my brother. He turned his closet into like the acoustics for recording music. His closet, you know,
What?
clothes and blankets and moving the bed around and stuff. Like just using what you got, you can make something magical happen. So
All right. So, and I think for me, like, what would you plug for yourself? Also, really cool about Paul. I love Paul. What's up next with Miriam? What's Miriam gonna be up to?
oh, Miriam, she's exploring. There is I've told you, Nikon, about this workbook that I've been writing for about a year now,
Yes.
and it just kind of is like a friend or a journal for learning how to be in touch with your heart and your emotions and the thoughts. And there is even parts of that of like what we talked about, like finding your truth
Mm,
about who you are and why you believe certain things about you and how they're holding you back and stuff. And hopefully
mm,
it's a very hands-on, like actually give you the opportunity to change life, not just like to read about it or to think about it or And so I have high hopes for it, but this is my first time ever writing anything like that, and it's all from my life experience and things like that. So I'm super stoked about it, but I also like today even looking at it, I was like, this is a mess. Like it's a beautiful mess and it's mine and I'm excited about it. So
all right.
yeah.
So
Now
everybody, you heard it here first. We all have Miriam's workbook to look forward to.
and now apparently I have Miriam live, so we're gonna see where that goes.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
on board with that.
Well,
So, all
tell
right. So I
everyone
think,
here how we can stay in touch with you, Nikon, because I tell you guys all the
uh,
time, like there's nothing Nikon puts out that isn't somehow inspiring or encouraging. And I would stay in touch. I would highly recommend staying in touch with this guy. Good for life.
thank you.
It's like good vitamin.
Well, yeah. Good vitamin life. So you can find me at my Instagram at nikon.gormley and all my shenanigans. And I have a feeling there might be another episode once we figure this video thing out. And I'll come on again and we'll have another conversation.
I think
Yeah.
that sounds good to me too.
All right.
Wow.
Well, good night, Miriam, and we'll talk
Nikon,
soon.
thanks again
All
for
right.
coming.
Bye. I
Everybody, thank you so much for checking in. I'm sorry for all the difficulties, and I really appreciate all of your patience. And like I said, you know, I'm no authority on joy or peace or anything like that, but I have found those things in my life, and I really hope that you guys are doing well on your journey to finding them too. I'm like fully cheering for you. I believe in you. I'm here to support you, and I love you guys very much. Stay safe, stay strong. Have a great night or morning wherever you are in the world. See you guys soon. Bye.